advocacy. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing a presentation. So once you have made a decision that there's something that you really want to get behind and stand for and try and make a change, you become very much like a chef. Right. First of all, you go around and you're selecting your ingredients, you know, putting everything sort of like, oh, I remember this was kind of good and this was great. These would be good together and all those kinds of things. And then you move into creating and preparing this recipe that you have in your head of how things are going to be. So you start to cook and you mix and divide and, you know, put things around. Then you put it in the oven or on top of the stove, and it finishes cooking. And so you stand back and you have a look at it and stuff like that, and you take it and you put it on your plate that you're going to take it to the table with, and you add your parsley and other final flavors, a little bit of sauce, all those kinds of things to it, and then you make your presentation to the people who are sitting at your table. They partake of the meal you have prepared, and then come the bravos or the boos. All right, so in this video, we're deciding on the ingredients. Okay, now please don't think I'm losing my mind here, but there are plans afoot here to put a pump track in one of the parks here in Elliott Lake. And a pump track is, in this case, a track made of asphalt for bicycles, any wheeled traveling device. So bicycles, roller skates, skateboards, longboards, and they talk about wheelchairs, striders, mobility scooters, other scooters, that sort of thing, right? And what happens is you have to do some initial pedaling right at the beginning, all right? But it is constructed in such a way as that as you move through the track, your body movement of up and down propels you forward. So there's no more pedaling. Okay. Now, although pump tracks are marketed as inclusive to wheelchairs and other mobility devices, in doing the research for them, the appeal seems to come from having them as another marketing tool for able-bodied active residents, or to attract active non-disabled tourists or people looking to relocate to Northern Ontario. One of the things that I found out through doing the research is that in order for someone who is using a mobility device to use a pump track, they need to have the less intense, shall we say, version of it. So, and it is considered to be a beginner's track that they're putting in here, but this is even a step removed from that, in that it's the same type of track as they use for very young children, right? In order to learn the whole balance, and because there's a lot to learn, all of these things, right? So it does not look like, with the plans that have been shown so far, that people with disabilities are considered in this particular version. So my thought is that a project with the same impact would be a track or trail, and I would call them one and the same in this case, that would accommodate disabled active residents and tourists, or even those looking to relocate to Northern Ontario. It is not as if disabled people hang out either in their chairs on the couch or out in the backyard in a lounge chair waiting for life to come to them. We go out, we do things. We do experience life. So I think that would be one of those great things. So a project of the kind that might be able to be used in the scenario that I would like to propose is frame running. Now, frame running is an athletic discipline that is done by people with cerebral palsy and other neuromuscular disorders. Right? The frame, and it is just what it sounds like. It's a frame that the person can lean into, hold on to the bar, put their weight on, and so they have all the support. There's a saddle, all right, as well. There are no pedals at all right, and you steer with your hands and your arms, all right, so you're this way, right, and you can run long distances being secure that you're not going to fall, right? It's like a bike, but it's not a bike, okay? So this also allows athletes to exercise all of their lower muscles, build up endurance, and it has recently been added to the World Para-Athletic Program, and there is the potential, and I haven't looked to find out whether it is yet. I should, but it could be involved into the 2024 Paris Paralympic Games. I think that would be a really great thing. Plus, it is another attractant to have that kind of thing here, because you could have people come in for training. Then it could also be used for rehabilitative walking and physical therapy. We have an aging population here, people who have had heart attacks and stroke. They've had different surgeries to have hip replacements, knee replacements, those kinds of things, in having their backs done, all right, with disc surgery. And so then there are workplace accidents and other types of accidents that you need to recuperate from. Okay, and a track like that would be terrific for that. And then as well as health and wellness overall. And please, I'd like to make it clear, I realize that a pump track, okay, and everything that's cool about a pump track would be a great thing to have in Elliott Lake for the young people, all right, even for some of us who are a little bit younger than I am, who want to try some different things, want to get out there on the roller skates like they used to, on a skateboard, or any one of those things. It would be a fabulous thing. I just think that it is the exclusivity of it versus the inclusivity of it that is making the difference for me in all of it. So, of the ingredients that I have on hand already, all right, I have the Design of Public Spaces manual, which is DOPS for short. It's another one of those acronym things. All right. I have the copy of the pump track presentation, contract and scope that was presented last night at the meeting. I have the recreation and culture link to the video of the archived meeting, and to show what was said and how things progressed at the meeting, and I will include that in the description of this video. Then I have a location that I think would be optimal for this kind of thing. And it just happens to be a place that I did a presentation to the Accessibility Advisory Committee on. It is the Spine Spruce Trail, and I would like to use that research and the presentation to sort of make it my first choice, but I would also like to include a second and a third choice. so that you can see what the differences are and what the similarities are in the types of spaces to use to make a space that's inclusive to everybody. All right. I also have the transit and the handy lift information that I've presented here in video form as well. I have the inaccessible outdoor spaces info that has been presented in my videos. I have the ableism video that sort of it shows and from what I have researched, it is a very sort of paternalistic look at how able-bodied people and those in power tend to treat their disabled communities and decide for them what is a good fit. And as an example of that, there is an instance in last night's video that you can find where we, as a disabled community, are referred to as the handicapped, who are waiting for something to be able to do. So it's that kind of an attitude. All right. I also have the data on what kind of tourism dollars people with disabilities, their friends and family bring each year into any place where they're going to go. And they do tend to travel as groups like that. So if a family is looking for a place to go and they have a family member with a disability, they're all going to want to travel together in most instances. And so looking for places to go that have all of these things is one of the pluses for them. Okay. And then the other thing that is of interest to me here, and I do have information on it as well, is that there aren't vendors here that I have been able to find, and I've been looking since May of last year for those vendors here that sell bicycles and other sports equipment, and some of the places that offer sports, say for example the ski hill. All right, and none of these places have equipment for disabled people to use on any of these things, nor do they offer the teaching or the ability to use those things. Our cross-country ski trails, we don't have accessible equipment to use on them. So even if you wanted to go cross-country skiing here and that the trails are groomed, you couldn't if you are disabled, unless you want to go outside of Elliott Lake and buy equipment. One of the benefits of not having anyone here who sells accessible sporting equipment is that you can attract those kinds of businesses to come here. If you start to market to people with disabilities to come here because we have the sports locations for them to do so, then people in the business of selling those types of equipment are going to want to be here. So it is a win-win for the city. So some of the ingredients that I need to get some new photos and video of Spine Spruce, the whole area, to show what I'm talking about and how I see things being laid out. And I also need to get those of my second and third choice as well, right? I need a list of the parasports and the other uses for the accessible trails, and what can be used at and done at other sites as well. And I am thinking in particular of creating, if you're going to have a sort of a trail system there, well then why not have an accessible cross-country ski trail that can be just groomed and used by people with disabilities. And as if you put it down at Spine Beach, that's where the other ski trails are. So it's seeing as they're groomed locally, but it's right in the same line. You don't even have to have anybody travel anywhere else. It's all right there, right? I need to get a hold of the baseball statistics for Kiwanis Park and elsewhere. I need to know what the costs of a new baseball diamond would be. If we lose a baseball diamond, because that is what is proposed, is that the pump track is going to go sit on the Kiwanis ball field, then should we need to put another baseball diamond in, which is a possibility, right? What's that going to cost? And then what are the overall costs to put in an accessible trail up to this point? And they would not be specific costs. I got caught up in this the last time because the city owns the property. Coming up with specific costs is very difficult because I can't go and say, all right, I'm going to design and then come up with the costs of what it's going to be to this. First of all, because I am not that proficient at all of those things. Second of all, it is the city's property and they need to be involved in all aspects of design and what they'd like and how it's going to end up being, and because it's their money in the end that's going to be spent, the city's money, not the city councils, but the city's. I want to start gathering information on what the overall effect would be, a marketing plan that would go specifically geared towards or directed to persons with disabilities in different communities within North America, specifically the United States, but I'd like to see how it would go over elsewhere as well, just to see where we could gather people from. We've had people come here from New Zealand and Australia who have enjoyed it here very, very much, and also from Finland as well. So I think that would be a really interesting thing to come up with and have as statistics available. I'd like to see what kind of funding is available and to decide what the minimum get is. So, okay, let's assume, right, all is said and done. If it's a wonderful, absolutely perfect world, you get everything you ask for, right? And then the rainbow fades and the unicorn goes home and there's reality sets in and you're going to get something. Let's find out what that is. Now, one of the other things that I need to do is come up with all of the people that I need to talk to and about what. So I need to talk to reps from baseball, including the players. I need to talk to city employees like Carrie Kluk and Amanda Lawrence, Steve Antunes. I would also like to talk to the counselors, Rick Bull, Charlie Flintoff, Andrew Wannen, and this is all to do with this project and how things were developed over time. What's the main goal? What's their take on everything that's going on? And then my next steps after that are going to be to start prepping everything putting it together. This is a big issue. We'll use all of these ingredients in the next video in order to come up with the recipe and begin cooking. And I hope that you'll join us for that. And your comments are definitely wanted and welcome in the comment section down below. And thank you for watching. Please like or subscribe if you'd like to. And thank you for joining me.